Welcome to Two Balls and a Mic, episode 55.5, 55 and a half. There's so much that happened related to our teams. We're going to go ahead and start off the top with the Padres, San Diego Padres, paying El Bebo, Fernando Tatis, 14 years, $340 million contract. We're going to go ahead and have one of my good friends, Brandon, come on and talk about all the Padres stuff that's happened. Also, not so good news. My Eagles traded Carson Wentz over to the Colts. We're going to get into that a little bit. Champions League also happened. Europa League. You guys kicked ass for Sociedad. But that's not important right now at all because great news.
Celebrate if you're a Padres fan.
Look, I don't tend to do this, but
another drink.
Salud. With that, let's go ahead and welcome on Mr. Brandon Wright Rowan. How are you, man?
What's up, guys? I'm doing good. Happy Thursday, y'all.
Happy Thursday. It is a fantastic Thursday to be a San Diego Padre fan. And look, man, like,
it really is.
There's so many of us around that have suffered through everything that the Padres franchise has put us through. San Diego as fan base, not necessarily saying that they're doing it on purpose. The Padres has just generally not been the greatest, which is fine. We're still here to support. But man, yesterday we got the notification. First of all, where did you get your notification from? What was your source yesterday with the big Tatis signing and the contract?
Yeah, I was on the Blue Line trolley heading home from work, and as I was getting toward like one of the stations, I had like a notification pop up on my iPhone. It's from Twitter, and it was from Dennis Lin, and it said that the Padres had agreed to a 14-year, $300+ million extension with Fernando Tatis Jr. And in my head, I was like, "Let's go!" Mm-hmm. That was basically one of the announcements that I've been waiting for throughout the offseason with all like the great signings that we had. But the Tatis extension is the icing on the cake, and what a hell of an offseason it has been for the rock star AJ Preller, man, getting it done.
I mean, I don't know if you know this, Chiba. AJ Preller, our general manager, not only a general manager, a fantastic street basketball player.
Oh, really?
We saw him cutting it up in North County, but he is the man making the deals and putting your Dodgers, I don't know. How do you feel, Mr. Let me preface this. He's not that big of a fan of baseball, but he just happens to be a Dodger fan, and then he's from there, and all power to you. But he gets to talk all the shit because they won. So I guess, how do you feel, Dodger fan, about this?
So you know me. I'm not the biggest diehard Dodgers fan, and I'm over here gonna talk shit about the Padres because at the end of the day, I do live here in San Diego. I do kind of hope the Padres do good because being from San Diego and knowing how you guys feel, you guys lost the Chargers. The Padres have always sucked. You guys are bound for one. You guys deserve one.
Okay.
And I really hope it happens sometime soon. Now, as a Dodgers fan, I like seeing the Dodgers win. Again, I'm starting to get into baseball, and I hope the Dodgers win and just destroy the Padres, because it's a rivalry. But if the Padres win, and then with this guy Tatis, he's just, I'm enjoying watching baseball, watching him play.
I like how you call it a rivalry. They don't consider it a rivalry.
I know, but I think it is. LA and San Diego is always going to be a rivalry.
I like that. Do you consider it a rivalry, Brandon, at this point? Or is it a rivalry in the making? Where are we at with that?
I honestly would say it would be, in my opinion, a rivalry in the making. I don't think it's like on the stage, as you know, Dodgers, Giants, Red Sox, Yankees, Cubs, Cardinals, stuff like that. So, but yeah, it's getting up there with the talent that both teams have been getting these last few years. So I'm really looking forward to this Dodgers Padres games for the next few years, man. It's gonna be a war.
100%, and I'm hopefully we'll be able to witness some of these in person, because obviously last season, truncated season, we were watching Padres games from home. And
so when did Tatis debut? Was it 2 years ago?
Yeah.
So you guys have seen him play live?
Yeah.
Okay.
And granted, it was exciting, and he
wasn't like how he is now.
Absolutely not. Okay. I think he led the league in like errors, 14 errors in his rookie season, But, all things considered, you still saw that talent there. And, that's something that doesn't really get talked about, is the fact that, he led the league in errors. And now he's doing what he's been doing. Like, that's somebody who worked at his craft and is just getting better by the season.
That's fucking crazy, man. Because to me, I hear this and I'm like, it's like having your team, like, when Messi was like 22 and you're a Barca fan and you're like, holy shit, like, we literally have probably the best player in the world in the making right now.
Yeah.
And that's what you guys have right now in baseball. That's fucking exciting.
Yeah, 100%. I do want to say, Brandon, I like, we're one of the first people that just came to mind, obviously, one of the diehards. What does this mean that the Padres are finally putting money back? Because I go into the Padres team store, I buy a hat, I buy a jersey, as clearly you are all just swagged out always, just the tip is top. We actively contributed to this $340 million. I like to think my hats, the jerseys contributed to that. How do you feel like they're coming back? Peter Seidler's making it happen. He's giving back and putting his money where his mouth is.
I love it. It helps that Seidler's a multi-billionaire. So
true.
But yeah, it's really nice to see San Diego get some shine on the national stage. Now, of course, as everybody knows, it's San Diego's a small market, and like we're really the only team left in SD. And as you mentioned, the Chargers left for Los Angeles. That hurt. So we got to step up, and we got to show them that we're on the rise, especially like from all the talent that we got in the farm system. And then, of course, a couple of years ago, then we signed Eric Hosmer, and then Manny Machado, and now, of course, going way back, getting Fernando Tatis Jr., what was the steal of the century in terms of trades with the White Sox. Of course, it all goes back to James Shields giving up that home run to Bartolo Colon, man.
Hey, man, Juan reminds us we all work together. So trust me, he has us thank him every time. Mets fan. Yeah, poor Mets fan. He was there for Adrian Gonzalez walk-off grand slam, which doesn't happen at Petco very often.
And I will say I was there in person when Bartolo hit that home run off James Shields, and I was like, you got to be kidding me. Of all people, Bartolo Colon. And to make it even worse, like I said, I was at that game. There was a ton of Mets fans at the game. Of course, they have they're following the 7-line army. Mm-hmm. They made the trek all the way to Petco Park, and they were like all like in the lower portion of like right field. It was crazy when Bartolo hit that home run. They went nuts.
Yeah,
so, yeah, that was painful, but that I think was the start for us.
Hey, we got the last laugh, right? It ended up getting us a nice Tatis, and I mean, it's pretty crazy because the measure of how I see the Padres in the obviously there's MLB Network, and if there's MLB stuff happening, crazy good stuff, they're gonna be covering the Padres. But it's when I see other media outlets, like when I listen to Colin Cowherd, when Colin starts talking about the San Diego Padres, something happened like big and monumental. Mm-hmm. The last time Colin talked about the Padres was when Manny Machado signed, and what he said, I still remember. He was like, "Well, he went to the San Diego Padres. That's the last time we're gonna hear Manny Machado until his contract ends." I was like, "This fool, like, come on, like, fuck that, no, man." But this is really putting us on the map, and to think this is one piece of the 2021 San Diego Padres.
What I'm hoping for this, just in San Diego in general, is that if the Padres manage to win a World Series, hopefully it brings a market.
You're the worst sports. Dodgers fan, but yeah, keep going. I love this.
No. This is coming like from a San Diego resident. Oh, okay. Like hopefully it puts San Diego in a sports market that's attractive to bring in maybe another NBA team. Mm-hmm. Hopefully it's the start of an MLS team. Maybe an NFL team comes to San Diego. So, because San Diego deserves to have a sports team in every single major league. Man.
Our boy Dwayne is going to bring an XFL team. Don't you worry. But yeah, I mean, like I said, Tatis, one part of it. What is the other incoming players? Obviously, you have Snell, Darvish. Oh. I don't really know much about Ha-Seong Kim. But, what parts of the new incoming team are you most excited and, hope works out, or is there anything that kind of worries you, or where are you at with that?
First, I'm just interested to see how Hassan Kim does coming over, of course, from the KBO, and it's gonna be interesting to see how he faces major league pitching. It's also gonna be interesting to see what they're gonna do with Jake Cronenworth because Hassan Kim can play second base. So, what's that gonna mean for Cronenworth? Are they gonna potentially platoon him in left field with Tommy Pham, who's coming off two things? He had COVID last season, and then he struggled throughout the season, then got hurt. And then he had like a nice little stretch before the end of the season and had a solid postseason, especially against his former team, the Cardinals.
Yeah. I like how you didn't mention the stabbing. As a
I did not want to mention that at all.
You have to mention that. It's 2 balls in the mic. You have to mention the stabbing.
What a story. What a Padres offseason. I think this is one of the, if not the craziest Padres offseason that we've had since the Manny Machado saga. I can't remember.
Everything's closed except the strip clubs.
If you follow Brandon on on Twitter, when we are allowed to Petco, you will always find a similar looking picture every time from a certain seat in the house. It's overlooking a home plate, and it's just one of my favorite pictures that I just always look forward to. What's been the worst scene that you've seen on the field from that beautiful view, and what's been the best?
The worst scene? The worst scene, I really cannot think of one. Probably would be if we got like blown out. This was pretty much during the Andy Green era, I would say. But the best is pretty much, like I said, it's like the view. Now, I'm a season ticket holder. I've been a season ticket holder since 2016. That, of course, was the year of the All-Star game. But from where I sit at, in section 300, it's just a beautiful view. You get the view of the stadium, you get the backdrop of the skyline. So yeah. But also, it was when we had the All-Star game. It was also a great view for the home run derby, the game itself, the celebrity game. So yeah.
All-Star game where Myers is where he decided to hail East Coast Mexican food over West Coast Mexican food which still didn't sit well. In terms of Padres knowledge of Mexican food, Trevor Rosenthal trumps him, and he was only here 6 months. And Lolitas isn't the bee's knees either.
No, it's all about Tacos El Vaquero over at 3rd Avenue in Chula Vista.
Have you been to Tacos El Vaquero on 3rd Avenue in front of 3 Punk Sale, by the way?
What's that?
Have you been to Tacos El Vaquero in front of 3 Punk Sale in Chula Vista?
I don't think I've been to that one. I've been to 3 Punks, but not that spot.
Next time you go, man, eat some tacos, bro. They're bomb, bro. Straight
I'll
up.
be sure to check that out.
We got you, Brandon. We got you. But is this the year? Is it 2021, 2022? Obviously, we have the rotation that's still kind of up in the air. Clevenger out for the year. Lamet, I don't know. People are saying he's fine. He's throwing. I don't know if I trust everything that's going on in that arm. What's your rotation coming in 2021?
My rotation, does it have to be in any specific order?
No.
Left to right?
No. Left to right. No particular order. I'll even allow maybe a 6-man rotation if that fancies you.
Yeah, I don't know if they would go to a 6-man rotation, but if it's 6 with 5 for the time being, and like you said, depending on how Dinelson Lamet feels, if he feels good and he's healthy, he's your opening day starter, hands down, because the season he had last year was disgusting. On pace to be, he was a finalist for the Cy Young. Well, not a finalist for Cy Young. He was just outside of it.
Yeah.
Without a doubt, if he's healthy, Dinelson Lamet opening day. Then number 2 is going to be interesting because you got Blake Snell, you have Yu Darvish, you have the newcomers, and then San Diego's own Joe Musgrove coming from Pittsburgh. I'm probably going to take a guess. I'm going to take a guess and say Yu Darvish.
Oh, okay.
One of the finalists for the NL Cy Young. So it'll be Lamet 1, Darvish 2, Blake Snell 3, Joe Musgrove 4, and Chris Paddock number 5. Now, in my mind, I really want to see Mackenzie Gore, but given the fact that he hasn't been in the majors yet, and as we heard, he had mechanical issues during the training site at USD during the short season. Since they didn't bring him up, I think Chris Paddock is going to be your number 5. But here's what's going to be interesting: if Nelson Lamet somehow is not ready for opening day and doesn't go, is going to have to miss some period of time.
Mm-hmm.
Then you can begin the conversation of having Mackenzie Gore be potentially your number 5.
Oh man, I mean, what do you think of the rumor of Paddock going over maybe into the bullpen later? I don't know. I kind of don't trust the kid, man.
Yeah, Chris Paddock really had a tough year after a very solid rookie year. And like I said, given a short year, he had a rough year last year. If they do bring Mackenzie Gore up, I think there's a chance that you potentially could see Chris Paddock in the bullpen. The thing is, he's reliably a 2-pitch guy, as we've seen, fastball and a changeup. He has been trying. He doesn't throw the curveball that much, and as we heard from last season, he's been trying to work on that cutter. So, who knows?
Yeah, man. So didn't the Padres call up rookie Ryan Weathers? So why not call up Gore?
That's actually pretty true. I mean, yeah. And in the postseason,
I forgot about him. Yeah, that's right.
I'll do my research. Totally didn't read that off on Tony's list.
And I forgot about Ryan Weathers because he had that solid performance in the NLDS against the Dodgers because the Padres, in terms of pitching wise, bullpen wise, they were gassed.
yeah.
And then of course Lamet was out. Clevenger came back in game 1, but then got hurt. So I think Ryan Weathers will. That guy bring up a good point. Ryan Weathers would be another option.
And I mean, that what people were saying back then. Like, if you brought up Ryan Weathers, people were even throwing out Mackenzie Gore at that time to come into the postseason. And why not let him roll? Could have been some good, solid experience for him. But I mean, there's so many options for the San Diego Padres right now that I think that arguably the weakest part is maybe. Even then, he was a candidate for Manager of the Year with Jace Tingler. How are you liking Tingler in his first year? Kind of rocky in the first 2 or 3 weeks, but then it lit a fire up the entire team's ass, and ended up, like I said, candidate for Manager of the Year. How are you liking Jace Tingler? Which, by the way, is my personal best friend. I don't know if y'all know that.
Well, after 1 year with Jace Tingler, so far so good. I like it. Now, like you said, he had like a rough first 2 or 3 weeks, especially with the pitching and stuff. And then of course there was the controversy regarding Fernando Tatis Jr., the grand slam he hit in Texas and what was of course a blowout. I honestly didn't like that from him.
Mm-hmm.
But as the season went along, I think he started to really pull it together. And given how good the Padres was last season, he deserved to be a finalist for Manager of the Year. But I felt like, Tingler was it like the other 2 managers who had Don Mattingly, and I forgot who the other one was. But I think Tingler would have been deserving for a Manager of the Year, leading the Padres to the playoffs for the first time since 2006. But Don Mattingly, the job he did with the Marlins, even though it was a short season, and being that they hadn't made the playoffs since 2003, which was the last time they won the World Series. That was pretty good.
Yeah.
It was tough, but Mattingly ended up winning it. I really wasn't mad. So
yeah, I mean,
it's gonna be interesting to see what Tingler does in year 2. But he has done a good job so far for year 1.
Yeah, you gotta respect it just because again, the Marlins first 3 weeks everybody had COVID and they came back from it. They got it together, made the postseason, made an impressive run into the postseason. But yeah, I mean, if it wasn't for Mattingly, I think it would have been a good shout for Tingler to win it.
Again, we're talking about the Padres. We're talking about this is the season. Yeah, it's all hype right now, man. We got to see how the season plays out. The Dodgers are already good to go. They already won it. The pressure's really not on them anymore. Mm-hmm. So are you worried about the Dodgers or are you not worried about the Dodgers? I mean, their starting pitcher, their rotation is nasty, man.
Disgusting.
It really is.
Bauer into that. 3 former Cy Young winners, 1 current one, man. Or are you asking? Oh, of course.
So are you worried about the Dodgers or are you not worried?
Honestly, I'm really not worried about it. Like I said earlier, it's really gonna be a war this year, and I'm looking forward to it. The Dodgers rotation, I consider it one of the best in baseball, along with the Padres. Because if you think about the Dodgers, you have Buehler, you have Kershaw, they just got Trevor Bauer, and they get David Price back. So you may recall Price opted out because of COVID, because of the COVID concerns. And then of course you have Dustin May or potentially Julio Urias.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a very good rotation. And of course, the Padre rotation was Lamet,
And Gonzalez is also
Darvish,
looking to see if
Snell,
he's good to go.
Musgrove, and Paddock. Those are two pretty damn good rotations.
So who should both the Dodgers and Padres be worried about if there's anyone else?
True.
In terms of the National League, that's really a good question. You know, in the NL Central is going to be bad. It's going to be awful this year. I would say St. Louis, after they had just recently acquired Nolan Arenado, and of course, as we've seen, you know, the last decade or so, the devil magic in the postseason for the Cardinals. And then in the East is really going to be interesting. You got the New York Mets. Of course, they made the big splash this offseason. They got Francisco Lindor in a trade. The big question with them is, are they going to extend them long term like the Dodgers did with Betts last season? The Nationals, I think, should still be in the mix. They still got, of course, Strasburg, Scherzer,
Soto,
Corbin, Juan Soto. Of course, they just picked up Kyle Schwarber, and they got Josh Bell as well. And then there's the Atlanta Braves. I think the Braves will still be in the mix, even though we don't know if we're potentially going to see Mike Soroka. Well, he might pitch this year, but as you may recall, in August, he suffered that horrific Achilles injury fielding the ball. And, of course, they have up-and-coming pitchers coming up like Kyle Wright and Ian Anderson. They just re-signed Marcell Ozuna, which is huge for them. I think it would have been better if the universal DH would have returned this year, because Ozuna would be the perfect DH. He's not a good defensive fielder. Yeah. And, of course, they still have Ronald Acuna Jr., still got Ozzie Albies, Dansby Swanson, Travis d'Arnaud. I mean, those are teams that are really, really going to be in the mix. So the Dodgers and the Padres, they're going to be the top two teams in baseball entering this season. So it's going to be really interesting to see how it goes.
Some people would argue, like Juan, that the Mets are building up. Are they really?
Fuck the Mets. I mean, the Mets could have waited. They could have. They're not gonna make that big of a splash. Hopefully, but that's the thing. Like, they could have waited another year or two to start splashing the cash. Or if not, you know what they should have done? They should have just splashed the cash in this truncated season. Win the short season. Why not? Like, you already, you know, obviously.
With the asterisk, as you like to call it.
It is an asterisk. Is it an asterisk, Brandon? What do you think?
Not if the Padres won it. Huh?
No, absolutely not.
Honestly, given it was 60 games, I'm going to say asterisk. I'm just going to go it out. I'm going to go ahead and throw it out there and say asterisk.
What if the Padres had won it? Be honest.
I would have said no asterisk.
He was like, fuck no.
I'm going to be really, really real.
We won that shit.
I
like it. I love it.
Crazy scenes. I like that was one of the and not only making playoffs, but winning a series in playoffs. I was happy winning a game in playoffs, honestly. But
wow.
Winning a series in playoffs, you know, it was still during COVID, so not the safest scenes that we saw in downtown, but nonetheless, it looked crazy fun, crazy great, and it's only the beginning. It's only year one, man.
You know what that feeling must feel like? Huh? Mexico getting to that fifth game.
Oh, bro,
that's what I feel like that would feel like.
I mean, miracles do exist, but man, that one, I don't know, buddy. Hopefully. What does your MLB The Show team look like right now at the end of MLB The Show? The game should have already been out this year. Obviously, Brandon is a master at Diamond Dynasty.
Nice.
It's ultimate team for baseball.
I figured.
But
for mansplaining it to me. Gosh.
Okay. What's the top team looking like right now? What 99s do we have on there? Ooh.
Oh man, I haven't played Diamond Dynasty in a while because I've been playing a lot of Road to the Show. But if I recall, this is the Diamond Dynasty team I had. The outfield, I had 99 Mike Trout. I had Gary Sheffield and Mickey Mantle.
Wow.
In the infield, and those outfielders, by the way, are 99s. Oh. Now in the infield, I have 99 at third base, Manny Machado, the finest.
Oh yes.
At shortstop, I have the of course, you already know the August Player of the Month, Fernando Tatis Jr., 99.
That's right.
Second base, I think I had Rogers Hornsby, 99.
That's the best
like I said,
baseman.
it's been a while since I played Diamond Dynasty.
Yeah.
First base I had, I think, was a 99 Stan Musial. And then I'm trying to remember behind the plate. I think it was not Joe Torre. I think it was Buster Prestige 99 Buster
Posey. Nice.
And then I think my ace is 99 Signature Series Walter Johnson.
Wow. I mean, that's so. It's not like FIFA where like 99s are super rare.
Okay.
But even then, like there are some 99s that are like elite 99s, and that team is stacked. I've only played you once, I believe, and I've lost embarrassingly. But hopefully in the next generation we can get
that
on
game
it.
is hard, dude.
It really is. You actually tried it.
Like I couldn't even hit the ball.
Yeah, it's all about thumb placement with the PCI. If you're a zone guy.
I don't know, dude. I was just
You just fucking lost
I was
it.
just, bam. He was like, just press the button.
Let's go ahead and again, I'm really thankful for your time, Brandon. Let's go ahead and end it with a tier list. I want to hear what your tier list is going to look like as far as this upcoming season. So obviously we have the S tier, which is just the God tier, probably World Series champions, if not contender, and then contenders. I don't know why I didn't do the road to the show translations here, but if you don't mind, let's go ahead and I want to get your take on where do you think these teams are going to end up, how their season is going to be, starting with the absolutely no good New York Yankees.
Oh man, I still think the Yankees are going to be a solid team. So I would put the Yankees. I would say A.
A. I meant no good, as in I can't stand the Yankees. 98, bro. I know somebody who's a Yankees and Padres fan. How?
How is that possible?
Yeah, I don't understand. Seattle Mariners.
Yeah, Seattle's going to be an up-and-coming team. Of course, the Padres and the Mariners had that swap, at the deadline. Of course, we gave away Andres Munoz, we gave away Ty France, but the one that stung was Taylor Trammell.
Yes.
But I still feel like Seattle still has probably a year or two away from contending, so I'm probably going to say C.
C. All right.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
All right. Then we have the Rays. They made it to the World Series. Yeah. Obviously, they just lost Blake Snell. They do have powerhouse Hunter Renfroe. But the Rays in the division with the Yankees, the Red Sox, it's a pretty tight race, but they managed to get out of it this last season. Where are the Rays going to end up, Brandon?
Just one quick note. Renfroe actually is now with the Red Sox.
See, I'm sorry. Hey, I need to do more research like you.
It's all good, man.
Yeah.
I told him to get ready for this. And come on,
I'm sorry. Hey, it's a 394, bro.
It's the beer.
Salud.
So where do you put the Rays, man?
The Rays, I'm gonna put them as a B. They lose Blake Snell. They lose Charlie Morton.
Yep.
I would put them as a B.
All right. We got the Toronto Blue Jays, who had a pretty decent acquisition over this offseason. They did bolster up the ranks. George Springer, good old Texas boy, said, you know what? I'm out of here. I need some fresh air, and goes up into Canada, into the 6. How is the ghost of Bautista going to treat him this year? Oh, this is the second one. So
I'm gonna put Toronto at B. They're gonna be an up and comer. Of course, you got Vlad, you got Bo, you got Kevin Biggio, still have Hyunjin Ryu, and of course, as you mentioned, George Springer taking his talents north of the border. But the one concern I have with the Blue Jays is going to be their starting pitching.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, you got Ryu, you have an upper comer in Nate Pearson, but I think starting pitching might be a bit of an issue with them. And I also forgot to mention they got former Padre Kirby Yates, who is now north of the border. But
yeah.
I'm going to place them as a B. They're going to be an up and comer, but they're not there just yet.
I like it. Miami, again, Mattingly, manager of the year. Can they repeat it? It's a longer season. Still a very young team. Where do you see the Marlins at this upcoming season?
I'm not too certain if the Marlins are going to repeat that same success as last year, given, of course, it was a truncated COVID season. But they do have some up-and-coming pitching. Sixto Sanchez is going to be one of them.
Mm-hmm.
But right now, I'm going to go ahead and put them at a C. And given what I said earlier, I think it's going to be a much tougher National League East. That division's going to be good. So I'm gonna put them as a C.
I think that's decent for the Marlins. I mean, again, if you tell me last year that I would have put them at a D, verge C, and they ended up blowing it out of the water. So we'll see this upcoming year. St. Louis Cardinals, they have Paul Goldschmidt. Now they have the hot corners are just insane. You have Arenado and Goldschmidt on the same team. It's pretty nasty, but will it be enough for them to get past the San Diego Padres, which you couldn't do last year?
Yeah, the issue for the Cardinals last year was their offense. Their offense was one of the worst in baseball, but like I said earlier, that devil magic in the postseason, the offense just got going. As for this year, I have them as my favorite right now to win the NL Central. Which you got Jack Flaherty, as you mentioned. Still got Paul Goldschmidt. They now have Nolan Arenado. So, and of course, they also got Yadier Molina back.
Yep. And he wants it. He was upset about his season last year and how it ended and everything. And that I was very afraid of some Yadier Molina magic to just come up and destroy the Padres. And it got close. It got close.
It did.
I'm gonna put the Cardinals at. I'm gonna put them at a B.
Yep.
Hey, Chiva.
Yep.
Wow. Again, I like to tell everybody who we talk baseball with, he's actually played baseball. I've never played baseball in my life. So, obviously, senor expert.
Center fielder.
Sorry. Really?
Yep.
All right. So then we have the Houston Astros again.
Laugh, but
I just imagine how you look now in center field.
I was not a fat kid.
I know you weren't. Houston Astros, obviously losing George Springer.
Do you still hate the Astros?
Look, controversial, Brandon. I don't know if this interview talk is gonna end here. I think the Astros winning and cheating was actually good for baseball. It put attention. It put attention for the worst reasons. Everybody was talking about it. Everybody was looking forward to booing the Astros in every single MLB stadium. We were getting ready to boo them in spring training, and then boom, spring training leaves. But it put the eyes of America onto MLB, something that hasn't happened for the absolute most disgusting reasons. But hey, and there's no such thing as bad press, right?
There is.
So what do you think about the Houston Astros this year?
Well, for the Astros this year, of course, the biggest loss is George Springer, but you still got Carlos Correa, you still got Alex Bregman, you still have Jose Altuve. How much does Zach Greinke have left in the tank as he's winding down on what's really been a great career?
Mm-hmm.
I think I have the Astros right now as my favorite to win the AL West in terms of grade right now. I'm gonna put them as a B.
Put them as a B, solid. And that's what it's unfortunate about the Astros, the fact that they didn't need to cheat. They really didn't. The talent was there. The team was there. And who knows what would have happened against the Dodgers? Who knows? But congratulations. It's still on there. Reggie Bush isn't a Heisman Trophy winner. He apparently never went to USC. We can rescind that. Now he's back. But, hey, they never took the title away for the Astros. So, hey. And look, Barry Bonds is in the Hall of Fame. So it's something like you can't just say, oh, well, at the end, they weren't. So at the end, they were still champions through and through. Congratulations to the Houston Astros.
Wow.
Talking about the Braves, Atlanta again. Mike Soroka, who knows if he's going to be coming in. Ozzie Albies, and then obviously that young gun, man, Acuna. It's just something else.
Are the Braves good? Are they a good baseball team?
Yes, they are. Freddie Freeman's one of my favorite baseball players.
Okay. I know Atlanta sports kind of stuck right now everywhere else.
Not the Braves right now.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's going to be another good year for the Atlanta Braves. But like you said, with the horrific injury that Mike Soroka had, and of course they getting Ozuna back, and I forgot to mention earlier that they had the reigning MVP and Freddie Freeman. But no doubt the Braves are next. They're going to be a contender again this year.
100%. So we would put them at an A, you think?
A.
All right. Let's just take care of the Orioles. Put them in a D.
I was wondering if there was a D team.
Absolutely. We're getting there. Cleveland, who just purged their entire team. Frankie Lindor, Carrasco might not have been what he was at one point, but I still like Carrasco. Getting sent to the Mets. It's not the same team. They're rebranding. It's a rebuild. I don't know. What do you think about the Cleveland team?
The Cleveland baseball team.
Yeah, the Cleveland baseball team. But what's interesting, they're going to keep the Indians' name this year, which I find very interesting after they announced that they were going to scrap the Indians' name. Now, as for the team itself, of course, the big loss is Francisco Lindor going to New York. They still got Jose Ramirez.
Mm-hmm.
They still got former Padre great Franmil.
Mm-hmm.
And they still got like two very good starting pitchers, Zach Plesac and Shane Bieber.
Shane Bieber's a monster.
Shane Bieber is a monster. But I think Cleveland is going to take a hit in terms of a chance of making the playoff this year. So for Cleveland, I really low-key don't really want to put him at a C. I'm just going to go ahead and put him at a B.
At a B.
Wow.
Oh, okay. All right.
I had him at C, man. That's crazy.
Love it. Again, talking about pieces moving and going to other places.
Yeah.
The franchise, pretty much. Arenado, who is Cuban, I guess, half Hispanic. It's crazy. I found that out on Trevor Bauer's YouTube. Yeah, Trevor Bauer's YouTube is actually decent. It's not the worst thing ever. I don't like him right now just because he's a Dodger and he's being kind of a jerk and a dick and kind of a douche. But
that's how you are every day.
Objectively speaking, his YouTube is pretty good.
So is ours.
Absolutely. Check it out. 2 balls and a mic. But we have the Colorado Rockies in division with the Padres and the Dodgers. Getting rid of everybody. There's a humidor. The ball travels. If you're a pitcher, that's your worst nightmare. What are we thinking for the Rockies?
I'm going to go ahead and put the Rockies as a C.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, losing Arenado stings, but what really made this really interesting is in terms of trade with St. Louis, they didn't even get like a top 5 or top 8 prospect back, and that's a head scratcher.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And what was even more interesting is they non-tendered David Dahl, who was an all-star in 2019,
Mm-hmm.
and they just let him walk to Texas.
DJ LeMahieu, who was doing
DJ LeMahieu's gone.
great.
Now he's freezing his ass off.
Yeah, and you have it's a waste to have Trevor Story in that team now. Like it's unfortunate.
Yeah, he's the face of the franchise now, and the Rockies fans better hope they lock him up long term because I believe he is a free agent after this season.
Yep.
Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
so I put the Rockies at a C.
You guys have Corey Seager. What the fuck? Rockies at a C. We have Detroit. Again, ghost of teams past at this franchise. What are you thinking?
I think Detroit is going to be a team that's on the rise this season. I don't think so. They did get AJ Hinch, who comes back after serving his 1-year suspension for the cheating scandal with the Astros. I think that's a great pickup. I'm just kind of curious that the White Sox didn't jump on AJ Hinch. But back to the Tigers, I'm going to go ahead and put them at a C.
I'm just mad that Detroit has more sports teams than San Diego.
Jeez. All right.
And more burned buildings.
Hey man, they don't have a Landon Donovan leading San Diego Loyal.
That's
I can tell you
right.
that absolutely. Have a button for that. I don't know why I didn't use it. Kansas City Royals, the bane of every Mets fan's existence. Not the same team anymore. They are rebuilding a little bit, but they do have one of my favorite players, Whit. ¿Cómo se llama este güey?
Patrick Mahomes?
No, Whit. Help me, Brandon. Utility. Whit Merrifield. Thank you.
Come on.
Look. It's the third one. But Kansas City, great barbecue, great football team, baseball team. What are we feeling?
Kansas City. It hurts that they're in the same division with the Twins and the White Sox. Of course, they still got Whit Merrifield. Still have Salvador Perez. They get Carlos Santana, a free agent deal from Cleveland. But I don't think they're up there yet. So I'm gonna go Kansas City as a C.
Kansas City as a C. I think that's respectable.
What's all the D teams at? Just one?
I think there'll be a couple.
Okay.
Milwaukee Brewers, our favorite second baseman that was going to be our prospect that ended up not being a prospect. We got Trent Grisham back in Urias. They have Yelich, the best closer in baseball, with Mr. Questionable Twitter comments. But
Josh Hader. But
this team is, I don't know, like it's that team that's a perpetual team that can't take the extra step, I feel. But they're a solid team.
Yeah. Josh Hader is one of the top relievers in baseball. So, but for a Milwaukee standpoint, so I said earlier, the NL Central, I don't think it's going to be that good this year. I'm going to put Milwaukee. I'm going to put Milwaukee at a C.
Milwaukee at a C. Some people might think that's a little low, but I think that's fair. That's a fair assessment. So it's a longer season. Again, who knows what's going to happen in a longer season?
Very true, man.
And then we have Mike Trout, man, the best player in the generation, hands down. Just statistically the best player of all time, more than likely. They don't have Aldridge Simmons anymore. Oh my God. What are they going to do? What are the A's going to do? Is it another year of Mike Trout not making the playoffs?
That's what I'm honestly thinking. Of course, Mike Trout needs help. He needs help.
Yeah, he does.
The team, they need some talent around him. It doesn't help that their starting pitching really has just been so iffy for so long. I mean, they have to go out and get like a big name starting pitcher, because as we've seen the last few years in the AL West, it's been pretty much the Athletics and the Astros.
I definitely agree with you, man.
Yeah, but like I said, Mike Trout is the face of that franchise. They lose Andrelton Simmons. They got an up and comer in Joe Adell, and they do have a couple of young guys going up there. But in terms in the Angels, I'm gonna say that's tough. I'm gonna go ahead and just say B.
All right. There we go.
Based solely on Mike Trout.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Mike Trout just puts another B.
Again, it's we're kind of explaining and talking about the WAR, the wins above replacement. Like Mike Trout is just that player. Like it's that player who just is most valuable. Day in,
what takes
day
you for
out.
a whole category up.
Yeah, exactly. And they just can't get him a playoff win. Poor guy, man.
Here comes the Moneyball
Get
team.
Mike Trout to the postseason challenge.
Hope, man. Like again, he needs to get a ring, and he needs to not do it eventually with the Yankees.
The Dodgers.
No.
Dear God, no.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, let's not.
Why is that such a bad thing?
It's very much a bad thing.
That would be a nightmare for Pirates fans if Trout goes to the Dodgers.
Can you imagine? Like, again, I tell people how, Brandon, you remember Barry Bonds. Do you remember Barry Bonds ever saying that his favorite park in MLB was Qualcomm because he hit so many home runs in it? That pissed me off. That was a quote. Like, that's
Qualcomm?
greatness. Yes, Qualcomm. The Padres used to play at Qualcomm. You did not know that?
I did not know that.
You are younger than me, so
I didn't know that.
Well, Qualcomm's basically a memory now as it's being torn down.
I think today the final wall went down. Rest in peace, Qualcomm. Let's take a shot.
Pour one out.
Salud.
Gotta pour one out for Qualcomm, man.
Mm-hmm.
And I haven't even been down to Qualcomm in a while to see how the teardown is going in. That's eating me up a bit.
So many memories.
That's a lot of so many memories. Whether it be the Padres, the Chargers,
The Holiday Bowl, the Poinsettia
All-Star
Bowl.
game.
I would get tickets to those games.
Yeah. The Kogo Sky Fireworks Show.
All the Mexico
KGB Sky
games.
Show.
KGB Sky Show.
All the Mexico games.
All the Mex. I've never went. I've never.
I think I went to more soccer games at Qualcomm than football games.
It makes sense why you
honest.
don't.
I never went to a Charger game.
Baseball was played.
Never went to a Charger game.
You're not a Charger fan. Makes sense.
So,
Let's go ahead and bring it on back.
the Moneyball team.
Oakland, the Athletics, the Oakland A's. Who knows how long they're going to stay in Oakland? Coliseum is a shit show. Poor Ricky Henderson has his name attached to it. They need to get a better stadium for the Athletics. Always a solid team. They do have a pretty decent team coming in this year. Is this a year where they make that leap?
I'm gonna put the Athletics at a B. I still think they're still a very solid team. They just have to hope that they keep Matt Chapman, who is one of the top third basemen in the game, as well as Matt Olson, because that's two of your biggest threats in the lineup. And what surprised me is they did not bring back Marcus Semien. Yeah, because Marcus Semien was one of the top offensive players for the A's like the last few years, and they also lost. They lost Liam Hendricks.
Mm-hmm.
He ended up signing a free agent deal to the White Sox. So I still think they're going to be a very solid team. I think starting pitching is going to be a bit of a concern, as well as their pen. Even though they did sign former Padre Trevor Rosendahl to a 1-year deal today to basically become their new closer, I still think Oakland's going to be up there. So I'm going to put them as a B.
I could definitely see that. Bryce Harper, the golden child before El Bebo, before Tatis. Still a very solid team. Everybody thought they were going to make a giant splash. Eventually, what ended up happening, Bryce Harper joins you, says, I'm going to make sure to bring a title to Washington in this first press conference. And that's exactly what he did. Washington ended up winning the World Series that year, the first year he left. But the Phillies are a solid team. They have, on paper, one of the best teams, I'd say, arguably top to bottom. But they just haven't made it happen. Is this the year that they make it happen? Is they, again, same thing. Do they make that leap? What do you think?
They may have a chance. Now they play in what is going to be a very tough NL East. They get Gregorius back. They also keep JT Realmuto to a long-term deal. But what's going to concern me is really going to be their pitching. And that's really what's going to be a concern, I think, for the Phillies. Of course, they still got Bryce Harper. The question is, can we see the Bryce Harper when he was MVP with the Nationals? But as the Phillies, I think the Phillies are going to be up there. So I'm going to put Philly at a B.
Philly does that at B. All right. So then we got the Pittsburgh Pirates, man.
D.
This is
no brainer.
Oh, man. You just hate to see just a city suffer so much through baseball. Can't relate, right, Brandon? And then we move on to a not updated logo on this tier list, I believe. I can't see.
Yeah, they got to get that. Yeah, that blue's got to go. Got to get that gold.
We got to get, it's this retro San Diego logo, San Diego Padres. God damn it, bro. Like, no more of this. No more juice before.
So where do we put the Padres at?
So where are the Pods at? I mean, what?
I'm playing.
I fucking better be.
The Padres, without a doubt, they're an S. They're going to be one of the top
not biased whatsoever.
Not biased.
I'm being real. They're going to be an S team this year.
Okay.
Of course, with the rotation, with the offense, and especially with the talent that they still have in the farm that's going to be coming up soon. This is going to be a good team. But of course, the big question is, can they get over the hump? That is the LA Dodgers in the National League West. And if you look at the last few years, the last time the Padres have won a season series against the LA Dodgers, that is 2010, believe it or not.
Yep.
It's been a decade. They went 10-8 that year against LA. Since then, from 2011 to 2020, they're 61-118 against the Dodgers. That's a 341 win percentage. So
we're not even at 400.
They got to find a way to get over the hump against the Dodgers this year. But without a doubt, the Padres are an S team this year.
I like that. And guess what? That's this year. That's this upcoming year. The year after that, we got Clevenger coming back.
That's why I would put him at an A right now. No, with Clevenger a solid S.
All right, good thing it's not your list. Texas Rangers, thank you for Jay Stingler. Thank you for inspiring Tatis. Thank you for Slam Diego. I mean,
let's put him at a C.
Just out of respect.
Yeah, for Texas, they're of course in that West where they have to deal with Oakland, they have to deal with Houston. I'm gonna go ahead and put them. I'm gonna put them at a C.
Put them at a C. Hopefully, they can defrost by the time that.
Oh yeah, Texas is frozen right now.
It's crazy. I mean, it's cold as hell here in San Diego, man. I don't know, man. Like 40 something degrees, wind
If
chill.
I
Like
somehow see snow here in San Diego, that's when I lose all my shit.
That's when we're moving to Texas. The Red Sox. Obviously, since Alex Cora has left, now come back. It's a different team. They lose Andrew Benintendi. Still a big market. One of those games that you circle on the calendar. What are your thoughts on the Red Sox this year?
For the Red Sox, as mentioned earlier, they get Renfroe. They get another former Padre in Franchi Cordero. Here's hoping he stays healthy because that's been one of the issues the last couple of seasons. They lose Benintendi. Of course, they still have Alex Verdugo. The other thing is, will they get Chris Sale back? Of course, Chris Sale underwent Tommy John last year. He might pitch this year. We don't know. But for the Red Sox, I'm gonna go ahead and put them. I want to put them at a C.
Put them at a C. All right. The Giants, I mean, we were talking about D teams. They're supposed to be a D team. Wait, Red Sox was C, right? Correct?
Yeah.
Okay, got it. The San Francisco Giants, they were supposed to be a D team last year. Surprised everybody. Everybody. Yeah. And they played pretty well. Again, short season.
Asterisk.
Yeah. Okay, asterisk. But what's going to happen with the Giants this year?
Yeah, in terms of last season, the Giants had a really good offense last season. Even though really they didn't have, their franchise guy for like the last few years and Buster Posey opting out. But I think the Giants the question for them is, can they repeat the great offense they had last year to this year? But given that they're in the division that has, of course, the Padres and the Dodgers as the top two, I'm gonna put the Giants at I'm gonna go ahead and put the Giants at a B.
At a B. Wow. Controversial.
All right, Dodgers S.
Hey. Arizona.
Hey.
I mean, let's not beat around the bush. I mean, we're talking about them. You can't talk about the Padres without talking about the Dodgers. The World Series. I can't
talk about the Dodgers without talking about the Padres.
Not this year. The Dodgers. I think the World Series still goes through LA, like it or not. So, I mean, do you agree? Who goes up there? As much as
without a doubt, the Dodgers are an S team. They're going to be favored. They're going to be the favorite to win the World Series this year. And they're just loaded from top to bottom. So, Dodgers without a doubt S.
Agreed. Other division in rival division rival, Arizona, the Diamondbacks. We need to bring back the purple.
I agree.
100%. The Randy Johnson era, the Gonzalez era, like, man.
What year was that?
Ooh, I don't think you were. Don't hurt yourself, child. It was a while back. Okay. Not even that much.
Okay.
But the Diamondbacks, obviously, not the Diamondbacks of old. Still one of those teams that can be annoying, a thorn in the side of anybody's game plan or season view. How do you think they're going to do this year?
Yeah, this is going to be a much different Diamondback team. Of course, they got rid of Starling Marte. Madison Bumgarner's not the same Bumgarner that we saw with the Giants. Yeah, it's going to be a tough season for Arizona. So I'm going to go ahead and put them. I'm going to go ahead and put them at a C.
All right, let's put them at a C. There we go.
I forgot they still got Ketel Marte. Ketel Marte is
a stud. Yeah, something else. That guy is just, oh man.
And I also just wish that David Peralta would just stop going off against the Padres, because every time we face them, he just pretty much he plays like a 99 every time he plays against the Padres. But Arizona, I have him at a C.
I think that's very, very solid for them. The Mets, obviously, big splash. Cohen coming in, getting off of Twitter because he got bullied because he was too busy being a rich guy, but still putting money into the franchise. The Metropolitans, the little brothers in New York. What do you think's going to happen this year?
Yeah, I think the Mets are going to be a contender this year. Of course, getting Francisco Lindor. Of course, they still got Jacob deGrom, Marcus Stroman. They get Carlos Carrasco from Cleveland. Carlos Carrasco before he had like the cancer treatment and whatnot. Carlos Carrasco was a stud, and he goes to a Mets rotation, which is going to be very very good. And the one thing to also keep in mind, they may get Noah Syndergaard back because Syndergaard underwent Tommy John last year, so that's a very formidable starting rotation for New York. The big question, of course, for them is can Pete Alonso get back on track? He had that unreal rookie season, won Rookie of the Year with the 50+ home runs, and then he just pretty much struggled last season. Question is, can he have a bounce back year? But all in all, the Mets are going to be a very, very good team, and I have them without a doubt as an A.
An A. Wow. That's scary. Honestly, that's really scary because if you go back, even last year, I'd say B, fringe B, mid B. But yeah, they've made some really impressive moves, and this is again only the beginning for them, and it couldn't come at a worse time for the Padres, man. Like, what the fuck, guys? Like, you couldn't wait until we got a World Series at least. Thank you, Chicago White Sox, for Tatis. Enjoy your James Shields and everything that came with that. Very young team. Potentially, playoff and contender team here now. The White Sox are in a good position with what they have. I'll say Abreu is playing great ball right now. You got a couple good arms in there. But what do you think about the White Sox?
Yeah, the White Sox are going to be very, very good this season. Of course, Lucas Giolito, who had that no-hitter last year.
Mm-hmm.
Their pitching in general is going to be good. They get Liam Hendricks on a free agent deal from the Oakland A's. Of course, you still have Tim Anderson. You have Jose Abreu. They're going to be a very good team. The one issue I have is their manager, Tony La Russa, of course, has been in the news, a lot this offseason.
Yeah.
Primarily because of that DUI arrest. So it's going to be interesting to see how that goes down in the South Side. But I think the White Sox are going to be a real good team. I'm going to go ahead and give them. I'm gonna say S. I'm gonna go S.
Ooh, wow. Yeah, no, it's they're like a piece away from being just the top contenders, like a piece or two. Just it could have been bad, but again, very 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 interesting season coming up. Look, there's the Dodgers, who's a legacy team forever, been a great team, MLB staple. Then you got the Padres and the Chicago White Sox. I mean, the Chicago White Sox have had a little bit more success than the Padres in the postseason, historically winning one. Hey, Tijuana. Esteban Loaiza used to play there.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Oh,
but
and now he's locked up.
And now he's locked up because of cartel middlings.
The usual.
Absolutely. The Minnesota Twins, another team that was solid, great pitching. I love watching the Twins play, but they just have the misfortune of always facing the Yankees in the postseason.
Yeah.
Will they get past the Yankees? Will they not face the Yankees? Are they not even going to make it to the postseason?
Yeah, I still think the Minnesota Twins are going to be a good team. They still have Josh Donaldson. They still have Kenta Maeda. Still have Byron Buxton if he can stay healthy. They bring back Nelson Cruz on a 1-year deal who can absolutely mash at the DH spot. They're going to be right up there with the Chicago White Sox in terms of the division. But as you said, they really just cannot get over the hump in the postseason. Of course, getting knocked out by the Yankees, what was it, 2 years ago? And then getting knocked out by the Houston Astros in the wild card series last year. But I think the Twins will still be up there in the Central. So in terms of grade, that's going to be interesting. I'm going to go ahead and just put the Twins at an A.
Put the Twins at an A, yeah. I mean, again, it's you can almost chalk it up as misfortune at this point, facing the Yankees and the way that they lose. Sometimes they come back to play really well, and it's like this is it. This is the year they're finally gonna get, and then the Yankees just come in.
It's not that way you just can't pass in the video game.
Yeah.
It's the big balls you can't beat.
Exactly. Chicago Cubs. They won the World Series. They haven't, come back. It's the longest World Series hangover I've seen in a while. Much like the Eagles winning at some point and then not being able to come back and rebound from that. Chicago Cubs, historic team, historic franchise. Where do you see them this year?
For the Cubs, of course, they lose Yu Darvish, they lose John Lester, they lose Jose Quintana. Of course, they still have Kyle Hendricks. They get former Padre Zach Davies. They lose Kyle Schwarber. They end up getting Jock Peterson from the Dodgers. And for now, they still have Chris Bryant. You still have Javier Baez, and you still have Anthony Rizzo. That's the core, part of the core that was on that 2016 World Series title team. And they also still have Wilson Contreras. I think they're still going to be mixed in the NL Central. I think pitching could be a question mark. Bullpen's going to be a question mark, but they will be in the mix. So I'm going to give the Cubs. I'm going to say a B for the Cubs.
A B for the Cubs. Possibly my favorite.
Put him at A, bro.
Oh snap! Baseball movie. Yeah, let's not go that far. Rookie of the Year. You ever see that movie on TV Azteca?
Yes.
Kid
Yes.
falls, arm, pitches, amazing. Then he loses it in the middle of the game, and then they lose at the end. They don't win the championship. But it's a great moral story. One of my favorite movies. Baseball movies, they always get me like boxing movies. They just hit me like, oh man.
I like baseball movies.
Washington Nationals, great roster. Still have just legendary arm with Max Scherzer, San Diego's own Strasburg, pretty much el hijo de Tony Gwynn. Tony Gwynn's pride and joy at San Diego State. Rest in peace, Tony. But Washington, what do you think?
I think the Nats are going to be in a mix in what's going to be a very tough NL East. Of course, they got perhaps one of the top outfielders in baseball in Juan Soto, who can absolutely mash. Of course, they have that rotation. They also get a former Padre in Brad Hand, who was going to be their closer now with Sean Doolittle no longer there. But it's going to be interesting to see if they can try and replace that offensive production they had when Anthony Rendon was with them, because Rendon has been gone for a year now. And as we saw last year, they really didn't have that same kind of offense. But I think the Nats will somewhat be in the mix. They just got to hope their offense clicks. So I'm going to go ahead and put them at a B.
Yeah, and I forgot about Rendon, because Rendon was incredibly important for the Nats offense. And, he went west to get paid. And then we have the last one, which is Cincinnati Reds losing Trevor Bauer. I mean, Joey Votto, historic player. You're welcome. But yeah, that's the last one. What do you think about the Cincinnati Reds? I don't even know why I left this at the end.
Yeah, the Trevor Bauer loss is really going to sting for Cincinnati. They still have Luis Castillo. I believe they still have Sonny Gray. So that's still a very solid top two right there. And of course, they still had Joey Votto. The big question for him is how much longer, how much does he have left in the tank? But yeah, I don't know if Cincinnati's really going to be in the mix in the AL Central, of course, with, of course, Cubs and the Cardinals. Like I said earlier, I still think the NL Central is going to be pretty bad. But I'm going to go ahead and put the Reds at a C.
Boom, C. I think it's a mighty fine looking tier list, and it's well explained. And for those, we have listeners.
Is it possible I could make one change?
Yeah, absolutely.
I think I'm going to go ahead and put the Tigers from the C to a D.
And put them a D right there.
Nice.
Yeah, and I think that's it.
I think that's that. Yeah, I mean, obviously, no bias whatsoever. It's just, it is what it is. Padres deserve to be up there. Look, Dodgers get the respect. The White Sox, keep an eye on them. It's really likely like they're going to be really good. Anybody in the A tier can make a splash. But again, we never know with this wild card setup and after COVID, we just don't know what it's going to be like. But I think it's a very good idea. We do have listeners that listen have told me, hey, I really appreciate when you guys talk baseball because it's educational. I think this is perfect for everybody. Anybody who wants to kind of have an idea of like, okay, we're going to look forward to it. I only know maybe Padres baseball. I've heard of Padres baseball. But just a greater view, this is pretty much the MLB season, the league.
This helps me out a lot because S and A teams that you have on there, that's who I'm going to be watching this season. Like if I watch a game, it'll be one of those teams. No, I don't care about the other ones.
I like it. That's very fair. One last question, Brandon, before we let you go. Obviously, I don't know if you know this, voice of National City, PA, just connoisseur.
Wow.
This man on the mic, legendary. But all San Diego, everything. What do you think about San Diego Loyal, man? I mean, it's soccer. Like, what does that seem like? What does that look like to you? Are you a huge soccer fan? Do you follow it? Is it just it got your attention for what they're doing? Curious to see. Like, I've seen you retweet and talk about it a little bit. Are you following it? How's that going?
Yeah, I like the San Diego Loyal. Oh, I'm pretty happy to hear. I was actually at the inaugural home game last year, and that was the only home game that we could attend, because after that, pretty much COVID happened, and that pretty much was it. But yeah, I like the San Diego Loyal here. I got to meet Landon Donovan. I think it was a couple years ago.
Oh, okay.
One of the
The Soccer City?
Women's USA soccer events during, I think it was the World Cup. Yeah, that was the first time I had met him. But yeah, I'm happy that he's here. I'm happy that the Loyal is here. And really hope that they can bring a championship down here to San Diego. I think they're going to be a very good ball club.
And I'm pretty sure that they, because we have several listeners that are hardcore Loyal supporters, and that's and from the Loyal office himself. So this kudos to them, because that's how they're doing stuff right. Maybe we will have a good baseball, football talk, but it's good to know that a soccer team is resonating with people who know sports, and I'll say sports in and out, and it's good that it's getting recognized, and it's exciting. It's really exciting to see what they're building here, and I mean, I really hope that we get to see each other at a Loyal game, Brandon. Like, and at a Padre game. Like, why not? And at a Gulls game.
I like the interaction that the Padres and the Loyal Twitters had when both seasons were still going. So that's pretty good.
Yeah, 100%. But I do want to thank you, Brandon, for your time. I think we're gonna go ahead and just cut it there. You want to tell everybody where they can find you? Also, shout out the Uni Tracker, because that's important.
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter at BW_DCXIX. I also have 2 uniform tracking accounts that I do. For baseball, of course, it's the Padres. It's Padres Uni Tracker. It's at Pods Uni Tracker. That's PADS Uni Tracker. And then I also do one for the NBA for a team that's Los Angeles Lakers, and that's Lakers Uni Tracker. That's PG_Uni Tracker. So Padres Uni Tracker and Lakers Uni Tracker. So be sure to give it a follow.
Boom, right there. We're showing the Lakers Uni Tracker, even though, hey, I'm a Clippers fan. You just happen to be a Lakers fan. And then obviously this your page on Twitter, great follow, man. Great, anything San Diego content, you're on top of it. And again, we're so happy, man. Tatis, 340 million, 14 years. Yep. It's happening. Thank you for joining us, Brandon. And go ahead and stick around. We're going to go ahead and do a little post interview real quick.
Gotcha, man. Thank you so much, guys.